How does matchmaking work? Whether you're playing quick play or competitive, how does the system find other similarly skilled players for you to play with and against? So a lot of players seem to misunderstand the matchmaking system and assume that just because your player level is the only visible, almost tangible bit of information on screen, it therefore must directly impact matchmaking. But this is in fact incorrect. Player level is only an indication of time played, and whilst there is a correlation between time played and skill, aka the more you do something, the better you get at it, it doesn't actually affect who you're matched up with and against, which is why you can see players over level 100 in the same game as a level 1. Although these two players' levels are miles apart, they are probably of a similar skill. But there are a number of factors that do affect the matchmaker. The first one we're going to talk about is MMR, or matchmaking rating, which is used to determine your skill. Now obviously, this is a hidden number assigned to everyone that the matchmaker uses to group players together, so I don't exactly know what the numbers are. But let's say you just bought Overwatch and you start at a default rating of 50. As you win games, that rating will go up, and as you lose games, it will go down. How much your rating changes depends on many things, such as the map you're playing on, whether you're on attack or defense, which heroes you play, and the MMR of the enemy team, as well as each individual player. Now generally speaking, your MMR will increase more if you're victorious over a team that has a higher rating than your own. So if your overall team rating was 40 and the other team's rating was 60, you would gain more than if it were an even 50-50 match, and conversely, you would gain less if your team's rating was higher than theirs. Now the MMR system is way more complicated than this, of course, but without going into too much detail, that's generally how it works. You win, it goes up, you lose, it goes down. Another reason you may see lower level players grouped with those of higher level is because even though levels reset after the closed and open beta tests, players' MMRs did not. So if you played in the beta, the MMR that you had then will have been used as soon as you started your new level 1 account upon release. This was done to stop experienced players from the beta stomping on all of the newbies. This is also the reason I frequently get matched up against level 80, 90 and 100 players. Even though I'm currently only level 45, I hit level 40 in the closed beta and then around level 20 in the open beta, so in terms of total playtime, it's probably similar to those players who are around level 80 or 90, but who didn't participate in any beta testing phases. So if you see a level 1 guy kicking arse, it's quite probable that he's an experienced beta tester who only just picked up the game. So don't go flinging any accusations around without proof. And if you find yourself matched up against players of much higher skill, well, that's just the system telling you your skill is improving and trying you against harder opponents. MMR isn't the only statistic the matchmaker uses when deciding who to match you up with though. Another thing is wait time in the queue. Obviously, you don't want to spend most of your time just waiting for that perfect match, so the matchmaker has to be loose enough to find you a match within a certain range of your MMR. After your wait time crosses a certain threshold, that MMR range will increase slightly, which is why sometimes the opponent's MMR is a little lower or higher than yours. However, with over 10 million players, most people can find a good match within less than a minute. But of course, there are those people who are in the higher end of the MMR, like the pro players out there, who may get matched up with lower rated players due to a lack of players at their own level. The next factor taken into account is ping. Obviously, you want all players in the game to share a similar ping, since it's not very fun dying around corners from that one guy who has over 200 ping. And finally, your group size is a big factor. Of course, groups of 6 will usually be matched up against other groups of 6. A group of 4 and 2 randoms will be matched up against another group of 4 and 2 randoms most of the time as well. So if you ever feel like you're going up against a group when you solo queued, it could well be that 3 or 4 of the guys on your team are also grouped. However, just like with the MMR, if your wait time crosses a certain threshold, the boundaries for what is an acceptable match are slightly relaxed. So you may see your group of 3 plus 3 randoms go up against a group of 4 and 2 randoms. So those are the basics of how the matchmaker works, guys, but it is far from perfect. There are a lot of things that make the matchmaker's life difficult, for example, queuing with a group. That group is likely made up of you and your friends, each of you with vastly varying MMRs and pings. The chance that there is another group out there queuing at the same time as yours that perfectly mirrors your group is almost none. Then there's hero selection. Most of you guys are probably great with a few select heroes, but not all of them. Let's say Reaper is your best character, but you've never ever used Hanzo or Widowmaker before. The Matchmaker has no idea if you're going to jump on your best hero and overperform, or if you're going to try out sniping for the first time and underperform as a result. So I decided to make this video because I see a lot of people complaining about stomps, where one team completely destroys the other, and the losing team then accuse the Matchmaker of being broken. Whilst it's true that stomps can occur because of a mismatch, that doesn't mean that every stomp is a mismatch. A lot of the time, a simple hero switch can swing a game from a total stomp one way to a total stomp the other way. Think about it, how many times have you played Control where the enemy team completely destroy you on the first point and you don't even capture it once? But then the exact opposite happens on the second point, and then the third point comes down to a heated, long, drawn-out overtime. So there you go, guys. I tried to keep this in layman's terms and make it as simple to understand as possible, but it is, in fact, a very complicated system. I took most of this information from a blue post on the Blizz forums, where Jeff Kaplan went a little more in depth on what makes the Matchmaker tick. So if you'd like to read over that to get a bit more information as well as some thoughts from Jeff himself, then a link can be found down below. So I hope this explanation helps you understand a little bit of what goes on when you click that quick play button, and hopefully cleared up some misconceptions amongst players. As always, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, pop them down below in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.